Okay. The thoracic cavity is formed out of sternum in front. There are 12 pair of ribs on right and left side, and there are 12 thoracic vertebrae from T1 to T12. Now, the most prominent bone of this thoracic cage is the sternum. The sternum has three parts. The upper part outlined here is called manubrium. This expanded part is called body, and this lower projected end is called xiphoid process. The upper border of the sternum is called jugular notch. On the side of it, this is clavicular notch, where sternal end of clavicle joins in sternoclavicular joint, and below that we have first rib, the first costal cartilage joining with the sternum. This is also called first sternochondral joint, because this is actually junction between first costal cartilage and the manubrium of sternum. Then the manubrium comes down here, it forms an angulation here and joins with the body. This angulated junction point is called sternal angle. This sternal angle is a very important surface landmark of human body. Using this surface landmark of sternal angle, we can locate the important organs like the position of the heart over the thoracic wall. So, how do you start about the landmark of the ribs and intercostal spaces with the sternal angle? The sternal angle corresponds laterally with the second rib, and just above the second rib is the first intercostal space, and just below the second rib is second intercostal space. Then you continue marking down third rib, third intercostal space, fourth rib, fourth intercostal space, fifth rib, fifth intercostal space, and over the fifth intercostal space across the mid clavicular line you can get the pulsation of the heart, which is called apex beat. There are other important features in sternal angle you will later on learn. Now, below the sternal angle is the body of the sternum, and this body actually joining with other costal cartilages. For example, after second it joins third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh. Remember that this junction point between the costal cartilages and sternum, they are all synovial joint. That means this one, the first costal cartilage and the sternum, this is primary cartilaginous joint. It does not move so much because it converts into bone, but the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh, they join with the sternum and form synovial joint, and during inspiration and expiration they have got ample amount of movement. So, to repeat again, all the junction between the ribs and sternum are synovial except the first one, which is primary cartilaginous. All other joints move. The manubrium and the first costal cartilage junction, they move very little. Now, junction of the body and xiphoid process also, like the sternal angle here, is a secondary cartilaginous joint or symphysial joint. So, sternal angle between manubrium and body and junction between body and xiphoid, all are secondary cartilaginous joint. Now, coming to the thoracic cavity, it has got two ends. This end is called thoracic inlet and this end is called thoracic outlet. Who is forming thoracic inlet? So, jugular notch of the sternum, then first rib and first costal cartilage joining here with the first thoracic vertebra produce the thoracic inlet, but in the thoracic inlet, in the anterior part, clavicle also lies. Now, thoracic inlet is clinically very much important. Why? Because a group of structures are lying here. Some are actually entering and some are going into the axilla. So, you can see we cannot see actually subclavian vein. So, subclavian vein actually enter from the axilla and upper part of the pectoral region and enter into the thoracic inlet. Subclavian artery go from thoracic inlet towards the axilla, and behind that you can see this green color and yellow color, these are brachial plexus. Now, in this thoracic inlet there may be some clinical problem happening. Sometimes from the cervical 7 vertebra a rib juts out. Usually in cervical vertebra there are no ribs. So, this is an abnormality. This is called a cervical rib. This cervical rib may compress on this structure, or the apex of the lung. Apex of the lung may produce Pancoast tumor, and that can also compress this structure. This type of compression of structure by tumor of the lung or from the cervical rib is called thoracic outlet syndrome. So, remember, although it is called thoracic inlet, this syndrome is called thoracic outlet syndrome. So, if subclavian vein is compressed, you get edema of the upper limb. If subclavian artery is compressed, you get ischemic pain over the upper limb, and if the brachial plexus is compressed, you get numbness or lack of muscle function in the upper limb. Now, we come to the outlet. In the outlet, it is mainly formed by the xiphoid process, lower 6 costal cartilage, the margin of the 10th rib, which is also called costal margin, and posteriorly it is formed by 12 thoracic vertebra. This thoracic outlet is closed by the diaphragm. So, the diaphragm in the center is a central tendon, and on each side the elevated part of the diaphragm is called dome of the diaphragm. So, right dome of the diaphragm is at a higher level, left dome is at a lower level, because the right dome is occupied by the right lobe of the liver.